Supercoach NRL Off the Bench podcast, here to do a evening wrap-up of all the games and all the drama and tribulations of this week's NRL action round 3. And boy, what a week it was. Man, there was some absolute chaos. There's drama. There's mad late outs. There's all sorts of things, head injuries. So we'll go over all of that in about 2 seconds. Joining me tonight, we've got Tim. How are you, Tim? How are you going there?
Very well, mate. Very well. Evening viewers, evening gents. Yeah, not too bad. I didn't get to watch much footy over the weekend. Had a big weekend with the family and family sports. So, joys of getting back into the swing of summer sport, I guess. Look, what I have, 1,083, which I think from the look of things really quickly is par, maybe just a bit above. I think I'm 6 out of 7 head-to-head, so hopefully just above par.
Very good, mate. That's not too bad, I guess. I guess it could be worse.
Not quite as nice as yours, but yeah, I'm sure you'll tell us all about it in a minute.
You know me, I'm never one to really gloat all that much, but I don't mind getting a good score. And
I will just say really quickly that obviously that wasn't the greatest score, but that included I had Ponga as captain, I had Reece Walsh as vice captain. Obviously that didn't work, so I think my saving grace in the end was the Manly game this afternoon with Garrick's 160 and Olakau'atu kicked it on as well with an 82. So yeah, some good scores in there, but there were some pretty average ones as well.
Not bad. All right. Joining me as well, we've got a very special guest. We've got Sam Heazlett. He's been on with us before. How are you going there tonight, Sam? A bit tired?
Hey, guys. A little bit. Good to be back. Always nice being on the podcast with you guys. But, yeah, big weekend down in Byron for a Bucks weekend for a mate of mine, which was good fun. Got to watch a bit of footy with the cricket season's finished for me. I didn't do any coaching because of what we had planned, so I got to watch a little bit. There was a bit of shenanigans going on in the background, which might have distracted me from time to time, but got home this afternoon and thought I'd be a good chance to watch the afternoon games, but fell asleep pretty quickly and thankfully woke up just in time for this. So, yeah, here I am.
Oh, very good. How did you score this weekend? Any good?
11.05, so okay, considering some other scores I've seen around. I went Cleary vice captain, which was a great start. And then Kalen Ponga captain. We'll take that. Brought Haas in this weekend, which was nice. But yeah, we'll get through a few of those scores as we chat about them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So my score this weekend was 12.50 for the Bearded Beasts. Somehow I got 12.50.
Smashed it.
But I guess I'm lucky because I'm not a Cleary owner. So there's an immediate leg up there for you, and I vice captain Hines. So, but like you said, we'll get to a lot of those scores. Now, not with us tonight is Roscoe. Roscoe's score isn't so good. In fact, I'm not even sure if he made 4 figures. Poor old Ross. I've heard that he's hiding out in the Wombats Hotel in Woolloomooloo, drowning his sorrows. He heard earlier today that Garrick was going to be out, and he decided that's it and got the shits, and he's gone down there to get massively drunk and delete the app off his phone. And
so did he trade Garrick out?
I don't think so. No. I hope not. No. I actually think he's off at the AFL, but it's better off saying that he's got the shits and decided that he didn't want anything to do with the podcast due to his woeful score that he got this week after such a high last week.
He grabbed his bat and ball. He's taking it home.
So, yeah, well, I guess we'll just jump in and we'll start having a look at how the games panned out. The first game of the round this week was, this is where it all started to come unglued, the Storm versus the Panthers. A lot expected of this game, but the old Thursday night curse came along and Cleary was ruled out of the game with a head knock, a big 2 points to him. 10% of people captained him. Wow. that's got to hurt. Another 19% had the vice captain on him, which I believe one of you two did. So that's going to really hurt. This is a bit of an anomaly, this game, that sometimes happens. The Panthers actually outscored the Melbourne team who won in Supercoach points. So the Melbourne team, actually, Supercoach points are quite, very average. Eli Katoa, 77. Well, you'll take that. Pappenhausen, 66. A lot of people traded Turbo out for Pappenhausen, 66. Munster, 61. Anderson on the wing, 61. It all goes a bit downhill from there. Harry Grant, 26. Do either of you two own Harry Grant?
I do. It's a strange one when you got Harry Grant, who I believe played 80 minutes, and there's the second lowest point scorer for the Storm. You don't see that very often.
No. What are you doing? I've got Harry Grant. Are you going to hold, or you thinking of having a sell?
It's tough, hey. I said after round one that once you start with him, you sort of have to have him for the whole season. I did contemplate selling him before this round, actually, to try and get someone like Haas in. Well, cash for Haas, but more so also to get guys like Starling in for cash generation. I was able to get Starling in anyway by subbing out Duffy and bringing Sandon Smith up into the halves, so that was handy. But I traded out Turbo for that to get a bit of cash so I could bring Haas in. So I think I might stick with Grant and just think that he can't surely get any worse than this, and I think he's a safe option for the space of the whole season. But it's a bit worrying. I don't know why he would get worse attacking stats through this stage of his career. He's the sort of guy who you think should be just getting better and better, but hasn't started the year too crash hot.
Shout out to Ross. He's actually tuned in at the moment. The beer must be flying well down at the Woolloomooloo Wombats Hotel. Evening, Ross. He says, don't even mention my score. I'm not going to mention it, mate. We haven't spoken about you yet. But thank you for joining us.
We won't mention 900 and something.
Right. We won't mention. Oh, yeah. Well, Sam, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I'm thinking about selling. I think, honestly, that the cash loss is going to be too great, and there's so much money yet to be made. Like, I don't have Starling. So I will be certainly having a look at a few of those things. Now, for the Panthers, like I said, they actually outscored the Storm Supercoach wise. 105 for Brian To'o, another 100 for Alamotti. It's a pity about Brian To'o, isn't it, Timmy? I know you've got your eyes on him, but he's not going to drop too much cash now, is he?
No, and that's the kicker, mate. He was one that I was absolutely eyeing up, even for the trade this week, going from one of my Knights players. That was the plan, up to To'o. Banked all the cash and was hoping he'd drop a few bucks and bridge that gap a little bit easier. So yeah, I don't know. He's smacked it out, and by all accounts, it's To'o and Alamotti have been the two key ones so far. I guess you probably want to keep an eye on Jenkins, depending on how long Dylan Edwards is out for. I think he was going to be out for 3 weeks or something, was it?
3 or 4 weeks, they said. Yeah. Do you know anything about the injury, Sam?
No, I'm not sure. What was the injury again? I did hear 3 or 4 weeks, but what was the injury again?
I think everyone's blown hamstrings, haven't they?
No, I think it was a calf strain. He's got a lower calf strain. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah. No, I don't know. He's getting a bit older, Dylan. He's still not that old, but getting older, so that calf might become a bit niggly. It's one that keeps coming back if you don't look after it and play it conservative. So that might be how they go about it.
It's an old man injury for sure, mate. I have calf strain about every second or third week at Masters football. So, mind you, I do like to run a bit. I average about 8 or 9 Ks a game. So, and that's at Masters level, and we only play 80. So, yeah, it's I know how he feels. That's for sure.
Tom Jenkins is another noticeable mention, like you just said, 91. And then it starts to fall away from there. Lindsay Smith is a very interesting one, but there's that much cash out there in the front row at the moment. But 524, he'll probably go up to around about 550 odd this week after a couple of really good games. He seems to be the main beneficiary of Fisher Harris moving along there at the Storm. Anything else you want to mention about that game or that any player there?
No, here's an interesting one. Sorry, just on Lindsay Smith. So he had a 73 in round 1, 48 in round 2, and obviously another 70 odd in this round. At 524, he's obviously a bit cheaper than some of the other options in Haas and AFB. He's not the attacking weapon of those two guys, but I think he's probably comparable to some of the other options that you could move around up there. So you could certainly do worse than him as a fourth option. And I think he'll have another low break even this week. So he's only going to keep improving in price. Like you said, he'll go to 550 odd, and there's probably another 50 to 100K there to make if he keeps knocking out 70s.
Yeah, something to consider is he got a try assist on the weekend, so he's not going to probably get too many of those over the space of the season. But yeah, it looks like a good player to own as a bit of a point of difference potentially as the season goes on. I had Casey McLean, so he got 66. The late try was very handy. Otherwise, wouldn't have been quite as nice for me there. And he's that mid-range sort of price, so I'm hoping he doesn't lose cash over the long run. Hopefully he gains a little bit of cash and I can upgrade him to a gun eventually. But I just thought, being in that Penrith side, he should score some points. And the other worrying one, I guess, for some people, I don't have him, but Isaiah Yeo hasn't had a great start to the season and hasn't been up to what you'd expect. So one to look at. He might drop some cash eventually. Are you willing to get him after the start he's had to the season? Not sure. And I guess then also Blaze Talangi has shown us what he can do now after getting an opportunity in first grade, and we'll see if he's continued to be used by the Penrith over the coming weeks.
Well, it's a pity with Casey that, of course, he didn't get is it Casey that got knocked out in the first game,
Yeah.
So, of course, he's missed out on that. His score would have even been better, of course, if he managed to get through that game.
But that's it. That's where you wait for that one that score to go out of his average and jump on then.
All right, Joey Elchin's just tuned in. He says that Sammy Heazlett seems like a great guy. At least you get a rap, Sam. Worked well alongside Brad. Roscoe would have been good to fill in that third spot.
Love you, Joey. Thanks for tuning in, buddy.
He's already giving it to you. Oh,
mate, we're 10 minutes in. He's obviously running late. Probably had to cook dinner, feed his kids, something like that. Good to have you on board, Joey. Thanks heaps. Hey, I believe I've got some ruck infringement merch heading my way as well from winning one of their weekly comps that they throw out. So, big shout out to Joey and the guys at the Ruck Infringement. Recently knocked out their 100th episode, and they're about 102 in tonight, I think. So, keep an ear out for them. Ruck Infringement. Big supporters of our show and us them.
Thank you for doing the hard yards along with all of us, content makers out there. Joey and the boys over there at the Ruck, they're always good. I might have actually topped their score this week. I don't know. I'm in their overall group, so I'll be close. All right, the second game, Warriors and the Roosters, a bit of a bludger of a game, really. Chance Nickel-Clockstead, 115. That's his first 100 since 2023, mid-year 2023, by the way. So those people thinking he knocks them out all the time, he doesn't. It's actually very rare. Ali Leatua.
Good job. That's close.
Yeah, I try.
Much closer than you normally get.
Well, see, I actually own him. He's my pod that I have in my team at the moment. He's going to make some nice cash. I like that. 95 points. Thank you very much. Jackson Ford sort of coming off the bench, 56. That's about where it all starts to just get very even from there. Aaron Clark, if you own him, he's still going to make a bit of cash this week with a 55. Luke Metcalf proving that he's a very hot and cold player, getting a big 23 points. Anybody own Luke Metcalf, boys?
Yep. Yeah, and I reserved him. Yeah.
Oh, dear. You reserved him?
Yeah, I had to. I was starting to run out of players this week, mate, after all the injuries. But, the next couple of weeks we should be good. I've got plenty of cash there to do some upgrades. So,
yeah. I played him too. I mean, I don't think it's unusual to have played him against the Roosters, like what we saw in round one, that they could leak points. And And also he got 100 last week, so it's hard not to play him after that. But he
absolutely
didn't stand up for it, unfortunately.
I've played him twice for both his scores of 20 and didn't play him for the 100. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. But that's the joys of it. Hey, some really interesting ones in this game. Look, I brought in CHT as a bit of a cash grab. I went Luai down to CHT. The best part is CHT, Chanel Harris-Tavita outscored Luai, which was good to see. Had a negative break even, so I'm hoping he goes up 60, 75K, something like that. So, look, he wasn't a long-term play, but it was a 2-week play until they've got their bye. And then I will probably go him up to Munster and just hoping that he bridges that gap in cash. So, yeah, he should make a few more bucks. I'm hoping the same for Metcalf, but let's wait and see. Metcalf may end up going up into my my spare halfback spot for another couple of weeks, and I bring in Munster anyway through 5-8. The other one, RTS, I had him. I tossed up all week whether to trade him out or not, but came up with he's a hamstring issue as well. I think hamstring or a calf.
Hamstring. Yep.
Yeah. So 36. He's obviously going to be one to monitor this week. He might be my next trade out. But the one I'm really keen on is Barnett. See how Barnett goes. He's hasn't hit his BE yet. He's going to drop a few points. Drop a few bucks, but he's definitely on my radar for one to bring in.
No, absolutely. Now for the Roosters, Nafu White. Do we all own Nafu White, boys?
Yep, and didn't play him.
I don't have him. No.
I don't have him. All right. Nafu White, 87, is now going to make some nice cash, at least a minimum of a 2-week hold, if not a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Tupu doing what Tupu does with 68. Crichton, 62. Going to drop a truckload of cash. I think he's set for nearly about 80 grand drop just this week alone. So another one very similar to one that Timmy mentioned before, Brian Toto. These sort of players are ones to keep a watch on because they will be dropping down in price for scores like that. I mean, still a good score, 62, but Rob Toyer, 26. Very sorry if you played him. Sandon Smith, he went up to 20 points. I didn't see that. So he's actually gone up with updates there. So
I played him too, but he dropped out, thank goodness.
And James Tedesco came in for a lot of teams for Turbo with 58 if you did bring him in. You got it, guys? Got any of those Roosters players? Any impact there?
Yeah, I've got Toya Smith, but didn't play them, thankfully. They were just the non-playing reserves. I guess another one to look at potentially is Dom Young with his 38. He's had a few around that 50 mark to start the season, so he'll drop some cash. And if the Roosters are going well, he's scoring points. So might be someone to look at in a few weeks.
Yeah, well,
Teddy had his BE of 129, so he obviously missed that by a substantial way with 58. So he's 70-odd points off that. So he's going to drop a truckload of cash from 920. So he will, mind you, he did score pretty well those first 2 rounds, but once those hundreds start dropping out, then he's going to fall really, really quickly. So he will have a massive negative BE next week. A massive positive BE next week and lose a heap of cash. So, he's definitely one to keep an eye on as well. If you're looking for a side-based trade, if you held Turbo and he doesn't come good after the round.
Yeah, Connor Watson has had a great start to the season, the first 2 rounds, but only 30 on the weekend. So would have hurt a few people, but that'll limit his price rise that he would have been getting.
Yeah, Connor Watson owners would have been, because he went off for a HIA at one stage and then managed to claw his way back onto the field, as they sometimes do with these HIAs lately.
Does every week, doesn't he? Goes off for a HIA. It's in his contract, I think.
But I think he's only he'll hold his cash. He's not going to be dropping too much this week, but he's not going to certainly make the kind of money some people were hoping was going to be made out of him when they got him at the beginning of the season. Certainly. Anyway, the Roosters, I think they're in for a long season. It's going to be a hard work for them. The next game, we've got Timmy, the Broncos versus the Cowboys.
Yeah, look, this is one of the few games I did catch this week because I was actually at the game. Joys have been season ticket holder 15 years this year, boys. I've been going to watch the Broncos, which is pretty awesome. Before I went to their first game 15 years ago, I'd never actually seen a live sporting game of any code, any description before we moved here to Brisbane. So, yeah, joys of living in country Queensland. But, yeah, look, the Bronx, some shades of brilliance, some shades of 2 or 3 years ago when we weren't really good. But as a whole, look, we got the Chocolates 26-16. Payne Haas top scored with 140. Adam Reynolds 120. I did toss up the possibility of going to Adam Reynolds instead of CHT as a bit of a pod play. The Bronx are at home for 5 of the next 6 rounds, I think, from memory. And, yeah, A-Ray has certainly been turning back the clock. Paddy Carrigan with a 63. Jesse Arthur's got his token try, which was thank goodness because he was one of my trade-ins this week with a 62. Shibasaki a 60. Reece Walsh was my other trade-in. I went turbo to Walshy and unfortunately with a 55 did get a line break and try assist, which saved his score. But, geez, I mean, let's be honest. The hard part is with Reece Walsh is everyone's given him a whole heap of crap this week because, for the last couple of weeks because he has made a lot of errors. But, look, as far as Supercoach goes, he knocked out a 55. I think he had 8 errors throughout the game or errors that he was certainly a part of. Had some of those balls gone to hand. He passed one to Dean Mariner. All Dean Mariner had to do was literally catch the ball and fall over the line, and Mariner dropped it on. So that's probably the end of him, and Staggs will take his spot this week. But had Mariner taken that, then all of a sudden we're looking at Reece Walsh up around 85 to 90-odd score. So, yeah, look, it's not all doom and gloom, and I'm even though he had a high BE, I'll be holding him for another couple of weeks yet till Turbo's back.
Are you sure?
Am I sure I'm going to hold him?
Yeah.
You
better answer that question that Joey's just asked. Joey is just asking you if he says that will Jamie Humphries replace Reece Walsh poster next to your bed now that he is the most attractive guy in a rugby league? So
Yep. Yeah, on the wall, on the roof, stick the posters where you like. It's yeah, I don't know. I think I'll be holding him. I don't think it's the kind of thing I can jump on and then jump straight off. I picked him for the Broncos draw for 5 weeks, so I think I've got to hold out unless I make other fullback trades. But at this stage, that's not part of the plan. The only thing I may do is go him to Pappy, but Pappy didn't light the world on fire this week either. Walsh had a crap game and Pappy beat him by 10 points or something. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm afraid, Joey, that Dave London's the one with the poster of Jamie Humphries above his bed on the roof. So, yeah, you better watch out there. Eyes off him. All right. How many of these Broncos do you own, Sam?
Lots more Broncos players than I've ever owned, and it's not because I'm a Broncos supporter as such. I don't know how it's worked out this way, but I just felt like they were good players to have for their price and value. I brought in Haas this week, so that was nice. I've got Carrigan and Arthurs that I played, and then my non-playing reserves were Shibasaki, Hetherington, and Gajewski. So I'll probably have to get rid of Hetherington this weekend. I reckon I brought him in just because I thought the start of the season Haas wasn't going to play as many minutes from what I'd heard from behind the scenes, but it hasn't been the case. And Gajewski, yeah, got a try and only 32 points, so that's very worrying.
I think the hard part is with him though, Sam, even from being at the game, like Haas isn't getting the minutes that he was. Like he's not getting the 65 to 70 minutes. I think he was somewhere between 55 and 60. But don't quote me on that. But yeah, then the rotation just isn't there. Like I said in the preseason, I always thought that Paddy might start at 10 and go back to 13, and that seems to be what they're doing when they bring the big boppers on off the bench. Yeah, so Paddy just goes back to 13, plays the rest of the game there, and stays out of that front row rotation. Yeah. As for Goz and Piakura and Hetherington, they just rotate them through. So Hetherington seems to be there for that first 20, 25 minutes to absorb the impact. Comes on with about 10 or 15 to go, and that seems to be about all he's getting. So, yeah, it's an interesting rotation. while they're getting the results, I guess they'll keep doing it.
Yeah. No, I expected the same from Carrigan, but yeah, Hetherington hasn't worked out. That's okay. I'll try and see who I can move him to.
Do you hold him and Goz? Do you trade them both out? What's your plan?
Probably can hold Skajewski for the time being. I don't think his BE will be that high this weekend coming, so probably can hold him. But yeah, we'll wait and see. I haven't looked too closely.
Yeah, he's going to be about, because he had quite a big negative break even, so I think he's going to be in the lower end, about 10 break even, I think. After this week, the week after that, he probably is a sell, despite the fact he won't hit that magic 100K mark. But I'm actually almost thinking about moving him on this week myself. So I've got to find room for Tino somewhere, and I'm afraid that he's going to be it. Payne Haas, what an animal, eh? What an absolute beast. He's playing like wow. Fantastic. If you vice captain him, well done to all those that did. Yeah. I think, Jimmy, did you vice captain him?
No, mate, I haven't got him. The only head-to-head game I lost was someone that VC'd Payne Haas, and then obviously got his double points. So, yeah, them's the breaks. He's coming in this week, though.
Indeed. All right. So, do we have to talk about any of the Cowboys, really? I mean, their best was Tulagi at 73, Purdue 67. How many people sold him? Did either of you guys sell him?
No, it wasn't far away, but I've kept him. So that was what we needed. We needed a try.
Nah, well,
to be fair, he didn't look that bad either. Like when the Cowboys went wide, he did look all right. He's one of those players that cheap enough that all he has to do is fall over the line and then goes on a run for 3 weeks and makes you cash. So he only had a BE of 17, so he smashed that out of the park. He'll go up somewhere in the vicinity, go up to about 300K. So look, he'll have a super low BE in the negative next week and keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I've held him. The one that it does interest me, Robert Derby. What was his name? Robert Derby?
Derby. Yep.
Derby. He certainly passed the eye test to me. He looked very involved, tried to take up quite a few hit-ups. Got 30-odd in a couple of weeks' time. He's going to be primed right at bottom dollar there. He's going to be very nice to grab. I think he's about 214K, so he might be a cheapie to downgrade to, because in a couple of weeks we're going to need one or two of them. Any Cowboys there, Sam, to talk about?
No, I just got Purdue, but I guess like Tom did, and he's been one of the worst performing players compared to expectations to start the season. I started with Tom Dearden last year, and it worked really well for me. He had a great start to the year, and I'm glad I didn't this season because he's been poor.
I think there's a few in there to keep your eye on as far as BEs go and as they drop in price. Dearden, like Sam just mentioned, Jeremiah Nanai, absolutely. I'll be keeping an eye on him, and Reece Robson. If the minutes, I mean, he seemed to play most of the minutes in the game the other night, but he's up above 550, 600K or something. So, 590. So, look, as he drops below his BE, which he's going to do now, and yeah, same thing with Jeremiah Nanai. I think they're two big players. Drink water as well. Get on them when they hit their bottom and go ballistic from there.
And Roscoe just chimed in. He reckons that holding Purdue was one of the few good things that he managed to achieve this week with Supercoach. All right, on to the Sharks and the Rabbitohs game. The poor old Rabbits, I'm afraid the Sharks, when they get on a roll, they just love to bully teams. That's what they do. Particularly, they just find it very hard to bully teams in the top four, but they seem to be able to bully teams that are a bit lower. And that's exactly what the back five here did for the Sharks. They, runs like Ronnie Mulatalo got 109. He just bullied that wing. Same with Kaeliro. Will Kennedy, 65 Kaeliro, 85 Kaeliro will make a shit ton of money. Trindle, 97. Nico Hines, 113. Thank you. I'll take that as my captain's choice. Thank you. AFB, I guess, is a slight concern to people, 61. My personal opinion is this is going to happen when you've got so many middles there And when the game is going quite comfortably along, I'm not sure all those middles are going to get fed nicely. And that's just really what happened here. Any thoughts on that one, boys?
No, I agree, mate. He's one to watch. He had a BE of 85. He obviously didn't hit it, so he's going to lose some cash. He'll go below 700 this week. And yeah, definitely one to keep your eyes on.
Sam?
I don't have any players from either team in Classic. I guess I was looking at Heazlett maybe this weekend, but 50 tackles and 50 points. So he doesn't have many attacking stats there. But I do have a lot of the Sharks in most of my draft leagues. I'm in 4 different draft leagues, and I've got a lot of Sharks in all of them. I've actually had a terrible start to most of my draft leagues after a good year last year. And this weekend I got 4 out of 4 wins. So it was nice to hit back with a couple of wins after plenty of losses to start the season.
I'm a Heazlett owner, and what you just said there is very interesting. 50 tackles, still only got 50 points, and he also had a line break in that too. So there's a couple of negative points there that have gone in there. Bit of a worry, but anyway, I'll take the money and I'll keep earning money there while it's coming. Now, one for you, Timmy. You just alluded to a minute ago, you don't have Humphreys.
No, I don't have him, mate. Again, this was the toss-up between dropping Duffy that I had as my backup halfback, who after all the carnage and everything, I couldn't sell him. I had to drop guys that were going to lose a crap load of cash, and he wasn't going to lose any. So I left him there and brought in, moved things around. Anyway, did what I did. But, yeah, didn't get on Humphreys. He's going to rise in cash. I don't know. It's just hard. Like, I don't. He's going to make money. He's going to keep going up, but I don't know. He's not one of the high scoring halves that I want. I think I went CHT, he was going to make more money, so that was just the numbers that I crunched.
Yeah, I don't have Humphreys either. I missed out on that. I mean, I got a decision to make this weekend, I guess, with having Hines in my team. Sorry, not Hines, having Cleary in my team. If I trade him out, because he'll miss next week after doing that HIA, and yeah, whether I sub one of my players up from that 5'8" position, Metcalf or Brown, to halfback, whether I bring in someone like Hines, whether I bring in Humphreys, and his BE will still be low. Do I continue making some cash from there? We'll wait and see.
My biggest issue was Duffy wasn't going to score any points or lose any money anyway. And I had Luai with 115 BE, negative BE, 115 BE that he was never going to make. So I kind of had to drop Luai or lose 75K. In the end, I think I probably well and truly made the right decision, because I think Luai is going to lose about 100K.
I think anybody should get Humphreys. I got at least another 200K I predict to make. I've done all sorts of maths on it. I can't see him going underneath another 200K on what he's going to earn just this week alone. It's not too late to get him in. I don't have him, but he is coming in this week. Because, with due to carnage, similar to what Timmy just said, I wasn't able to get him. But I just don't. I think we're crazy if we're going to miss out on that 200K.
I agree.
Yeah, no, it'd be about the only South Sydney player I possibly would get. I mean, even Kolomatangi is their third best player, only got 49. He looks good, but 46 for Tallis Duncan. He's actually starting to get some minutes, but but beyond that, don't go near Ravalawa. Absolutely not. Don't even consider it. Anybody out there, you're thinking of it, don't. That includes you. I can see Mike McGaw's joined us. He just put up a message there. He needs some sharks in his team. Mike's a mad St. George fan. Now, Ravalawa came from St. George. Mike, don't get him. Don't even be tempted. Don't be tempted. Shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. The next one is Roscoe's team. Actually, Roscoe, just a minute ago, he did say that where are we? He did say something about this game. He said he was at the game. The Sharks were horrible in the second half, and AFB is going to Haas next week.
Yeah,
Well,
be careful. You also went Nico to Cleary last week, so be careful on that one, Roscoe.
oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, Humphrey's theme for him. Yep. Yeah, Sanders Smith is probably also gonna disappear to somewhere for me too this coming week. All right,
Unless it means Ethan Sanders maybe, but
yeah. Well, yeah, Sanders.
Sandon Smith, I think he means Sandon Smith.
He does mean Sandon Smith. That's exactly what
Yeah.
he's referring to. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sandon Smith. The Dolphins versus the Tigers. The Tigers. Wow, wow. I mean, they were busted. I thought they were half time. I thought the Dolphins were going to come running home with this. The Dolphins, Herbie Farnworth, 85. He's coming on good. Saifidi with a try, I do believe, got 76. The halves, both Qatar and Nakora are looking good, 74 and 60 between them. Gilbert, 47, isn't doing really what I was hoped he would be doing. Any of you guys own any Dolphins?
I've got Ozarko, so he only got 30. He's had a couple of shining moments so far to start the season, but was quiet on the weekend. Thought it'd be a nice point of difference. I was considering getting Herbie Farnworth in to start the year, but went with Ozarko for a bit cheaper and got that goal kicking ability. And I thought with Herbie on his side, that just might create some extra points for him too.
He's just Ozarko is so attack reliant sometimes. He just doesn't have those base that some of those other wingers seem to be able to attract, like a To'o. But when he's on a run and a tear and he gets 3 tries, well, it's fantastic. But if you don't get that attack, it can be a bit of a nightmare, can't it?
Yeah.
Just throw a quick one at you. Sonny Taruva obviously scored well in this game, scored well in last week. In round 1, he only got a 29, so that'll drop out after this round, which means he's got 2 scores of 100 or thereabouts that'll go through his average. So he is highly likely to go up in value over the next 3 or 4 rounds. He goes into Warriors round 4, then the Broncos, Newcastle, Para, and then back to Sharks. So, yeah, he's got some decent matchups there over the next few weeks and could absolutely be a pod play at 577. He had a BE this round of, I think it was 33 or something like that, 36. So, look, he's probably going to be a shade over 600. And the way that they've been getting the ball to him, absolutely, I think he's a decent pod play, but it'll be 600K if you want to go there.
Yeah, no, good shout out there. Not for me. Would you like it to get Sonny Taruva? No, 577 is an awkward price for me, Sam.
No, he got 2 tries on the weekend for 79 points, so not bad. I mean, he's done well for anyone who's owned him, so well done. But I feel like it's a bit too risky for me. It's too reliant on those tries. They might keep coming, but no, not for me.
I just think 2 this week, 3 last week. I think he scored 1 in the first week and it was knocked back. So, they're obviously using him. So I guess it's a bit like Jesse Arthurs and some of those other similar players. And obviously guys like Arthurs and Tamale are a bit cheaper.
All right. Roscoe's not showing us his score. Brod's out there. G'day, Brod. Brod is from NRL Supercoach Rd. He just had a few comments come through. He wants Roscoe to show us his score.
Love your work, Brod.
If you haven't popped over and had a look at NRL Supercoach Rd, do so. Another good group that is out there where you get lots of really good information available. But at least Roscoe still says up the Tigers, so he's still going for his at least he's seen one, which it was a hell of a comeback. As I said, I thought they were busted. Absolutely busted. All right, in the next game, what do we got coming up? The Knights. Oh, dearie me, the Knights. What do we do here, fellas? The Knights versus the Titans. I am a Ponga owner. Ponga with a huge 45 points. Ooh. Have we all got Ponga?
Yeah, and captained him.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it could have been worse. 45. You could have captain Cleary and got 2. So yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely could have been worse. It's not his best, but I'm still confident that he's got plenty of points in him this year. I think I've made the comment to a few people that I watched the first half intently. I didn't watch a whole lot of the second half, and I thought in the first half, especially when they were in the opposition 50. The plan was to give it the ball to Ponga and hope for the best. They had a lot of sets in the opposition 50 where he was getting the ball from first receiver at least 2 or 3 times in the set. Not able to do too much with it because they weren't getting a lot of forward momentum leading into that point, and he was going sideways a lot. But I'm not giving up on him.
Yeah, sorry, Brad. Yep. By all accounts, from everything I read online, there seemed to be a lot of concern that he was just standing behind the the ball a lot later on in the second half. And obviously they really needed him to try and step up and dig his way out or dig the team's way out, but just didn't seem to be doing that. So I can't really comment because I didn't see the game, but by all accounts online, that was his biggest problem. So there was a lot of comments online about him being injured or playing injured or whether it was a ticker thing, who bloody knows? But that seemed to be the issue.
I certainly, you're nearly alluding to it. I think what the problem might have been, I'm only thinking, this is just a thought, but they seem to lack a lot to go forward. Now, they were missing Leo Thompson. They were missing who is their main front row forward now. And he does give them a lot of frontward go forward. There's another middle there that's very important to him that was missing. I can't remember it.
Dylan Lucas.
Well, he's not a middle. He's an edge. I'll get to it. And then, as well, on top of those 2 middles, you're then missing Dylan Lucas. Dylan Lucas is actually Ponga's best friend. That's his best mate. These two are very close, apparently. I wonder how much an impact all of that and the lack of go forward had on the Knights. Because you're right. They just didn't seem to. Bradman Best was by far and away. He was outstanding. If New South Wales don't pick him this year, if he's fit, they're crazy. 109 Supercoach points there. Cant, not making his debut. He has played a few games before. But Cant with an 88 certainly looked very good. Really, it falls away from there. Sharp 54. Well, if that's his worst, that's pretty good. Greg Marju, 38. I reckon owners will be jumping off in their droves this week because he probably is not going to make any cash. Give us a look. What was his? If BE was -5, so he's still going to make a bit of cash. But, I guess if that's your only problem, well, you've got a pretty good team. But for the Titans, do either of you boys own Tino?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I started with him, copped his 0 from round 1 by obviously having the bye then. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty stoked that I've got him and obviously played him. Would have been nice to get a few more minutes this week, but I'll take your 61, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I don't have him. I was considering him to start with, and then even more heavily considering him after his first game. The 61, yeah, that's good. I don't know whether that'll convince me that I definitely need to get him in next week, especially with all the other front row forwards that I have and the depth there, but certainly worth considering, and you could do much worse.
Yeah, I don't own him, but I will be getting him this week. This week is the week. If you don't own him, jump on board. If you want to get on the cash train, get on board. Darren Morton says, g'day, Darren. Again, thanks very much for tuning in as always. He owns Ponga and was glad he scored low because a lot of people captained him. Yep, that was I own Ponga, but I was not unhappy to see him go low for that exact reason. Now with the Titans, Campbell 117. I'd love to own him, but his price just make him just such a weird one. Very hard to get into. Bo Fermor. At 600,000 is very hard to own as well, but he knocked out on 80 points. Good on him.
Sorry, Brad. I actually really like Firma there as a pod play. I've got Lucas down in my centre wing. I think I had to move him up into second row this week, but I'll be after they have the bye, I'll put him back down there. It's I think Bo Firma would be an absolute great play down there also to go in your centre wing and just solidify it up with a 65 to 85 week in, week out. He had a low BE. Well, by low, he had a 60-odd BE, so he's obviously going to have a lower BE next week, probably a negative one. So, look, he's one that you can have run him with Dylan Lucas and flick him between the two. The Knights have the bye next week. So after he comes out, then you can have the two 2RF centre wing duels and just flick them both back and forwards, or run them both down in your centre wing and then have two high ceiling guys down there as well and be safe as houses for a while.
Just a thought there, Timmy. In future weeks, I would keep an eye. I certainly would keep an eye on the buys looming. I own Lucas as well. I don't own him now. The reason for this is they got a bye next week. So basically, with the plethora of second rowers and good second rowers, they're going to be earning cash, right? If I really want Lucas, I could have gone, say, Fermor this week, which I went to another direction, but I could have gone Fermor, and then held Fermor for 2 weeks and then bought back into Lucas in 3 weeks' time. You know what I mean? Because they got the bye, so out this week, then a bye. That possibly might have actually nearly saved you a trade there. Might not there. That probably might have been a nice play. Now, where were we? We were having a look at some of these Titans players. Not really much more to Tino. 61. He went down a bit. He downgraded a bit there. Oh well, Keeney, Sini, 68. Some people have got him as a pod play. I mean, I don't know about that, but we'll see. All right. So our next game, shall we go on to the next one?
Yeah, the only thing I will say is that the Titans draw over the next few weeks doesn't look too bad. They've got the Roosters in round 4, then going to Dolphins, St. George, Raiders, Cowboys. That's not a bad draw. I think you could do worse with getting on top of some of their attacking players or some of their consistent ones as well.
No, absolutely. That's And there he goes. Darren reckons he's out for 6 weeks, which could well be.
I had bigger fish to fry this week. So I had like 4 different guys that were injured or massive BEs that had to go first.
5 weeks, yeah. Yeah, he's gone out. On top of all those comments in regards to Lucas. Thanks, boys, there for commenting. All right, so the next game, what do we say about this? The Parramatta versus Bulldogs. This was not a pretty game to watch at all. There's nothing pretty in any of this. A better showing for Parramatta, 82 for Zach Lomax. He ran over 200 metres. He was absolutely getting pummeled left, right and centre, but kept on running. Will Penasini with some nice attacking stats for 71. Dylan Brown somehow got 64. Don't know how. Hopgood is on 59 at the moment. He'll probably update with a few more there yet to come. You guys got any Parramatta players?
Yeah, I've got Dylan Brown. So nice that he got a few points there, even if they were a bit of junk. But I'll take that. I've got Hopgood. He hasn't been a great start to the season for me. I was hoping for a little bit more, but he's playing good minutes. Obviously getting some good base stats, but he's just not getting any attacking stats. He's not running the ball much. I heard he's got his first offload for quite a while in the game today, so need a bit more from him in that regard. And I've got Iongi there as my reserve fullback, and I played him, so 54 is not too bad for someone his price.
No, absolutely. He's going to be he's a cash earn for the next 3 to 4 weeks at least. Even getting pummeled in the team. Ross says, imagine getting penalised if you didn't see it. It's quite funny for impersonating the ref. Oh, dear me. So, moving on, the Bulldogs, semi-relevant, 75 for Zeri. Hayward, geez, he looks active, 64. I just got no room for him anywhere at the moment. Max King does what the Kingy does, 56. That's about where it ends. As I said, it really was a bit of a bludger of a game. Not even just over 1,400 Supercoach points all up scored, which is reasonably low. You would be hoping for a bit more than that. Cheapy Suwaki Fafita, who I've got, he got a nice 46. I'll take those for a little bit of a cash earn. Josh Curran starting 53. As I said, there's not really. Preston 55. There's not much nice there. Do you guys have any Bulldogs, or are we bit off these?
No, none for me. Tupouniua was one of the ones that I wanted to keep an eye on. Was supposed to be starting. I'm assuming he didn't in the end if he only got a 29.
That's right, he did not. He got moved to the bench. I did actually have him in my team until a friendly little voice gave me a phone call and said, you better piss him off out of your team. So I quickly made a trade with about 10 minutes to go to another direction, and I was very happy I did actually in the end.
I think they've got the players to do well enough this season. So I think when they've got everyone back on deck that they will be a much better football team. But I think you want to keep an eye on some of their better-known players for Supercoach, guys like Preston, Connor Tracy. Yeah, I think you want to keep an eye on those guys, but maybe not rush them in just yet. Marnie's another one, only 31 this week, so he should lose a few bucks and be one to watch for your hooking position later on in the season.
Yeah, no Bulldogs you're looking at there, Sam?
No, not particularly. I was close to starting with Preston at the start of the year, but went Hopgood instead. But got a few of them in draft, but no one stands out for a classic player.
Well, unbelievably, they're leading the comp. Can you believe that?
I mean, it's been a strange year. There's been so many ups and downs from teams performing really well one week and really poorly the next. So it makes it hard for tipping. I think I got 4 out of 8 this weekend, but so many upsets, and you think one team's flying, and then they have a great matchup and they lose. So it's hard to know.
Indeed.
Just shows that the salary cap does actually work. So much to everyone's disgust.
You hope so.
Well, I don't mind the salary cap myself, but anyway, that's a much more heated discussion for a pub environment where everyone can disagree with me to their heart's content. All right.
Boys, I will just throw out there really quickly the Eels draw for the next few weeks. Once my mouse actually lets me scroll down, the draw's not too bad. They've got Manly, St. George, Raiders, Tigers into Sharks over the next 5 rounds. So that's a decent draw. As bad as the Eels have looked, if you jump on the right guys, look at Lomax, Brown, maybe Hopgood, and Williams. I actually like Williams as well. He's about 10 to 15 points undervalued at the moment if he keeps trucking along.
Yeah, the coach certainly seems to have a big opinion of Williams. He did start in the front row this week. I think he's played every position so far. I think he started lock. I think he started edge. I think now he's starting the front row. I'm not really certain where he's going to end up in that pack. I've got Hopgood, but I'm not like Sam. I'm a bit uncertain about what we're going to do with what do you do with him? I don't know. I might just keep him because he's good for at least 60 points about every single week. Come go, but yeah, just not getting much attack. All right, to the game of the round. On your Manly. All right, the Manly Seagulls up against the Rickies Raiders. The unbeaten Raiders came to Brookvale thinking they were going to get a win. They did not. But they certainly were in the game up until about the 20-minute mark when Horsburgh did one of Horsburgh's normal meltdown moments, brain fades. And then he was off to the bin for 10 minutes, and it was all downhill from there for the Raiders. They just never really recovered. It really wasn't Horsburgh's all over his fault, I must admit. I mean, he's going to cop a little bit of flack, I think, online, but they were just on the back foot at that point anyway. Manly had something like 30 tackles inside the attacking zone of Canberra at that point, and they was really starting to run out of steam. Both you boys watched this game?
I saw the back end. I only saw the back end of that. I'm glad Garrick scored points because I've got him. I was worried that he wouldn't. I thought he would go low without Turbo on the team. I thought it was a bad out for him, but he's got plenty of tries and racked up the points. So Manly, thought that Canberra might beat them with no turbo.
Yeah, no, that was Okoladu back to his best. He got 82 points as well at the moment. I think he's going to update you a few more because he did have a few offloads in there which are yet to be added on.
Best part about that is a lot of people traded him out this week. So if you held on, I certainly did. And he's a season-long keeper. He's one of those guys, you just don't trade him out. He can score in any given week. And on a poor week, he hits a 50, 55. And on a good week, he can go, but he scored a ton last year. So there's no reason why he can't do it again.
Ethan Bullymore, he's fast becoming a cult hero on the peninsula. Wow, he's just I know he came from the Broncos, but what a bargain basement buy he's been for Manly, and well and truly worth it. He gives everything every single game, 79 points. I actually looked at buying him this week and I didn't, but Supercoach is like that. You look at people and you go, oh, geez, I should buy him. Did we know anybody that owns him?
No.
He's pretty nicely priced. He was as a BE of 9 before this week, and he's 357
in one point. What was it? No, 2.5% of teams.
If you got him, well done. You've just about to earn yourself about 60 grand this week, and a hell of a lot more possibly to come. Particularly with Paseka going down with a ruptured Achilles. That ruptured Achilles, will that put him out for the season, Sam?
Yeah, for sure. That's a huge injury. That's a lot of recovery there, and you don't want it to happen again. So they'll really look after it, and we'll wait and see whether he's back to his best when he comes back, because it can limit people moving forward.
Yeah, it looked pretty innocuous at first, but they did mention it later on that it was a ruptured Achilles. So I went, oh, geez, that does not sound very good. Lehigh Hopewadi, some people were jumping on him, 34. I'm afraid any of those attacking stats all went to Okolatu and Garrick, who were just terrorising that side of the field. Trey Mooney for Canberra, 73. I've had a good look at this fella over the last couple of years. I've been waiting for him to get some game time. He was a spectacular junior. He's just been languishing, just getting 10 minutes, 12 minutes, Ricky's old roulette. But he was started lock there today, 73 points. Good on Trey. Did you guys jump on Starling at all? Anyone jump on him?
Yeah, I do.
No, I wanted to, but just couldn't make it work, mate. He's one that I will be doing this week, though.
Yeah, I think if he gets the same role throughout the year, he's nearly someone I can just keep for the season as my second hooker potentially. So yeah, I've got him in there, and Horsburgh. I brought in Tamale this week and actually played him. He was in my flex position. Just how it worked out. I mean, the flex position makes it a lot easier, I think, to bring people in that you want and shuffle the team around, which is handy. But I had to play him, and I had to play a cheap centre wing, and that's who I played. And he only got 21, unfortunately.
Yeah. Davey London, he's saying that let's not dwell on Garrick. Some of us don't own him. We won't mention any names, Roscoe. It's like that. Oh, no names, and then he mentions Ross.
Yeah, good times. Well done, Dave. You're a legend. Hey, Matty Nicholson, obviously one to watch. He didn't play round one as they figured he wasn't quite ready yet. So he's got a negative BE. Didn't light the world on fire today with a 41, but obviously scored really well with his 2 tries last week. I think he's going to be much like every other second rower. If he doesn't get a try, he'll be 50 there or thereabouts. But yeah, look, he obviously does. He scored a lot of tries over there in the English Super League last year, so he's definitely one to jump on next week. Will be a bit of a upgrade, I think, for someone like Vimoga in my team, who then obviously Nicholson will be a starter week in, week out, I reckon.
Yeah, only had 6 hit-ups, which isn't many for the game.
When the Raiders only scored 12 points and Manly scored 40, I think Raiders spent a lot of time standing under their goalposts. So that probably does make things a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I actually I'll have to have a look at his minutes for Matty Nicholson. I brought Matty Nicholson in. That was a trade I did with about 10 minutes to go, getting rid of Stilly Tupanua. I swapped it to Matty Nicholson, not only about 120 grand cheaper, but it scored Stilly.
Mm.
So yeah, no, it wasn't a bad. It wasn't a bad trade really, because that saves me a trade next week. So yeah, I'm not necessarily unhappy with that. But Starling and Nicholson certainly the outstanding two down there at the moment. Starling with a few more points yet to be made in cash. Right,
Tamale obviously had a really high negative BE with a negative 59 this week. Only scored a 20. What do you make? A 21. So look, he won't be making quite the amount of cash that everybody wanted him to. But the plus then is he will still have a decent BE this week as well. So you can jump back on if you want him as your 5th or 6th centre wing, and should still be under 300k with a low BE.
Albert Hopewadi, Ricky loves him. He's got to be coming into that team. And as well, who was the bloke that was? Didn't they have another one coming back that was suspended? Well, he came back this week, didn't he? That was Savage.
Strange. Yeah, Strange and Savage are both back now. So
yeah, so they're both back. So
like as a coach, you don't want to be chopping and changing your team too much. You want to show your players that you're showing faith in them and sticking with them past one bad game. But we'll wait and see. You never know.
This is Ricky Stewart you're talking about. Have you seen what he does with his changes?
I think he sticks 25 names in a hat each week and just closes his eyes and, yep, yeah, cool, you're number one. Roll around. Shit, Papali. Yeah, you can play on the wing. Just.
Well, there you go. Ross Mann just said that Matty Nicholson played 80 minutes. So, yeah, definitely not a very good BPM there. Could be a little bit of a concern. Not the most urgent trade, but certainly one to be watching out for. All right, that's all our games sort of rough summed up. Timmy, what trades you looking at? You looking at anything in particular you can sort of give us an idea on?
Look, I think Payne Haas will be coming in. I think Matty Nicholson will be coming in. And I don't know, chances are I'll probably look at BEs and I'll boost again this week. I didn't make a trade in round one, but used 3 this week, and I'll probably use 3 next week as well. I got 600k in the bank after downgrades this week, so that was all part of the plan to do 2 upgrades this week and bring in another cheapie.
Sam, what have you got on the chopping block? You got a few lined up already?
Yeah, like I mentioned, probably definitely Hetherington past there. I'm not too sure. Seyfarth finally scored some points for me, so I'll keep him. But yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, Grant potentially, Cleary maybe. Yeah, there are a couple that might be, but I'll see what options I've got.
Yeah, well, I'll be flicking on. I might even move Harry Grant this week. I'll see, or Sandon Smith. I'll just have to do some maths on that one. And Humphreys will be coming into the half spot. And the other trade, I'm definitely bringing Tino in. I think you're mad if you don't have him. You should be bringing him in this week. And the guys will get see you later, guys. Hello, Tino. I've got the cash. I've got the ability to do that. So, yeah, that's an easy one.
Good job.
Yeah. All right. So, have we got any more we're going to add to it, or are we going to wrap it up there, boys?
No, I think that's about it, mate. It's there's not much else to add. Let's wait and see what team lists come out. I know there's a lot of players on report this week and a lot of injuries popping out of games as well. So there could be carnage again come team list Tuesday, and let's wait and see. It's for teams that are like mine. I've got 3 Newcastle players, so obviously they've got the bye this week, so that's going to make things a little bit harder. And it'll be a bit of a tough choice as to work out which Newcastle players I keep and which ones I'll let go. My plan was going to be Ponga out this week to one of the other fullbacks, but that was before Turbo was out, and I brought Walsh in. So, yeah, again, not really sure. Pappy's possibly likely. We'll keep an eye on things.
An interesting one there, Sam, is that, and you might have a bit of an idea on this one, but Latrell, rumours are that he's tracking well ahead of schedule. I think it was a grade 2 hamstring tear. Coming back within 4 weeks. How do you feel about that one? Do you think we should hold off on doing a fullback trade and wait for him in round 5?
Yeah, I mean, he's someone I wanted to start the season with early days, but had to go to Ponga when he was out. I mean, even within a grade 2, there's still big variation of what a grade 2 can be. You've only got a few different grades. So, there's very different between one grade 2 and the next. He's had a few hamstring injuries in the past, so they'd usually be maybe more conservative after he's had a few of them. But obviously, it's not too bad if they're considering and bringing him back this week, and he would know what his hamstring feels like and when it feels good and not after the prior injuries.
Yeah. So would you be trading another trade in fullback, or would you be maybe holding firm and waiting for Latrell week 5?
Yeah, I probably will hold firm with my fullbacks. I probably just play Iongi in my 17. I mean, he's been in my 17, but just on the bench every week anyway. So may as well keep him in. I think I hold Ponga. I want to get rid of a centre wing. I've got one too many centre wings because I have to play one of them as my flex at the moment. So I have to get rid of one of them. Not sure which one it'll be. Maybe a Zarko. But yeah, well, I'll consider that.
Yeah, no, that's a tough choice because I mean, they've already had. Yeah, it's a Zarko. He can fly high or he can dip low, as we've already mentioned. It's all very attack reliant. So hopefully they can get the ball out to his side of the field. Is he outside of Herbie?
Yeah.
Ooh. So is Herbie a bit of a glue hands? Does he hold the ball to himself a bit?
Potentially, but game 1 this year, he was able to get the ball to Zarko quite a bit. But yeah, he's a guy who likes to take the line on.
Yep.
He's certainly nowhere near as bad as Bradman Best, that's for sure.
No.
So, good old glue hands Best.
Oh, I don't think that's Marju's only fault there. I mean, I wouldn't mind betting Marju could even get moved on this week. It's going to be very interesting watch for owners. But what do you have?
He's on the bye anyway.
What do you have? 4 or 5 drop balls there? I mean, teams are really starting to expose Marju at the back there, and he's getting targeted. Fairly similar to how teams actually targeted Saab there for a while. Saab went away. He did a lot of work, and he's certainly not as risky under the high ball as he was. Marju is lacking about 2 feet on Jason Saab. So not only does he have the shortness, but he gets about an inch off the ground when he jumps, and the whole thing just is reaching for it half the time. It looks an ugly catch. It doesn't seem to worry Brian Toto, see? So Toto seems to manage, despite not being the tallest winger in the world. Did either of you two have Marju? We didn't talk about Mars, did we, much?
Yeah, I have. I've got Marju, Ponga, and Dylan Lucas.
You could be considering. He's still going to make a little bit of money this week, Marju. But I'll tell you what, like I said, they're going to have to teach him how to catch those balls a lot better than what he was, because man, they were targeting every single time there. All right, I think that's about it. You got anything more to add there tonight, Tim?
No, mate, that's about it. I think this round is going to be a bit like bloody day 3 in the golf, bit of moving round, I'd imagine. Look, scores are really all over the place. In some of my head-to-heads, there's a large proportion of teams that are still sitting on 700s, and some of those are decent super coaches. So there's also some, I think, that the highest one in any of my leagues so far I've seen is a 12-something. But I'm sure there's a few big ones out there, especially guys that captain Haas or went rogue and went on Ruben Garrick, or even guys that loop Nico. So there will be some decent scores out there. But there seems to be a lot that are in low 1,000s, high 900s.
Anything else said tonight, Sam?
No, that's it. Thanks for having me on again tonight. It's been good fun.
No, it's been a pleasure. Always a pleasure, actually. Love having you on. Don't forget our major sponsor, a big shout out. I haven't given a shout out. Sorry, Dan. Wedge Sail Golf. Do go check out their website, www.wedgesailegolf.com.au. Great gear there. Young business, up and running, trying to have a crack. As you can see from the hat that I've got on, pretty snazzy looking hats. And he's got a new range of shirts about to hit as well. I did get a Bo Peep at one of them the other day, and man, they do look very good.
Very cool.
He has. You saw a picture of it, didn't you, Timmy? I think.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no, his gear looks very, very cool. That's we will all be in it very shortly.
Now don't forget the group code is still open. I think it might be Ross might be able to tell us when that is going to close. I'm not sure when that's closing, but it will.
I think we said round 10. I think Magic Round was when we closed it last year.
986538 986538. If you got off to a good start, mate, you still got time to jump in. Still plenty of merchandise, plenty of great prizes for coming first as well, including an NRL merchandise pack that includes a jersey. Lots of great stuff there to come. Ross says round 6 is when we'll be closing that overall group code. So don't. Darren Morton just came through with another comment. It sounds like he captain. Did you captain Darren? Did you captain Payne Haas? What did you score there? Let us know quickly before we knock off here. Just shoot us a quick one.
Something that we were talking about before we came on air was something that we did talk about in the preseason about the front row captaincy. It was something that I suggested is something that you can do week in, week out with Taylor May and Payne Haas and those guys if they do hit their straps. I think at the time I was talking about May and AFB, but look, Payne Haas, if you've captained him for their 3 rounds so far, I think you'd probably be sitting pretty and happy with your scores. So look, it is an option for something that we've talked about as a junk position for so long. They are knocking out the 70s and 80s quite consistently. And obviously Payne had a monster score with 130 something this week. So look, it's definitely a viable option instead of playing fullback roulette and winger winger roulette and whatever else you want to throw out there. I bet all the Cleary owners would have been much happier with Payne Haas this week.
Yeah, I can see a lot going to the strategy of captaining a front rower. So you've got Haas, Tino, Terrell May, AFB on matchup. Yeah, you might get a 50 out of them on a bad day, but if you're vice captain, a high ceiling player like a Ponga, Turbo, somebody like that, or even a crazy winger option like a Garrick or centre, you might be able to strike it lucky. What do you reckon of that strategy, Sam?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that's a good call. Thinking back now, I wish that like someone like a Garrick or a Zarko was a jewel for me at the moment. Then I could put them into my fullback or my flex position or something like that, or my another fullback spot. But that's all right.
No, absolutely. All right, Darren there with captaining Haas. He got 1181, mate. That's a cracking
good score, mate. Well done.
Yeah, terrific score. With updates, you should hopefully hit 1200 there. That'll be a good one, man. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Sam, again. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Timmy O. Timmy might be joining us this Tuesday, Teamless Tuesday. We'll see how we're going.
That's the plan.
And hopefully Teamless Tuesday on Tuesday. Obviously, it's on Tuesday.
The plan is to go live, I think, is what Brad's trying to spit out. So going live at the 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, depending on where you live, with the team lists as they drop, and we will absolutely analyse the bejesus out of it. I think that's what Brad is trying to spit. Probably with Olakawatu and, some of the other names in there as well.
All right, everybody, good night, and thank you very much for listening.
Stay safe, be good.